This is Late Night Health. This is the radio show that cares about the most important part of your life, your health. During the next 2 hours, the insane Daryl Wayne and I are going to take a look at some different aspects of health, ranging from PTSD to stroke and more. We'll also be taking a look in this show about the whole food muscle way. It's a new way of eating with the author How to Feed a Human by Dr. Robin. So that'll be happening on our show today. Robert Clancy will drop by. I'm sure that some cogent statements from Daryl will pop in. You have a cogent statement?
Every day.
Every day.
Whether I actually make them out loud or not is a whole different animal.
Yeah, I get that one. Well, we're going to go to a suburb of Chicago, Illinois. We're going to go to Winnetka, Illinois, and we're going to speak to a friend of mine. Lynn, how long have we known each other? 10 years?
Boy, I don't know.
8 years?
It seems like forever.
It does. So Lynn is a multifaceted individual. She does writing. She's written books. She does some kind of coaching and does marketing, public relations. And I guess a couple of years ago, she met a man whose name is Roland. And she introduced me, and we were actually talking, I guess, once a week, weren't we? And
yes.
And we all got caught up in life. And unfortunately, Roland got caught up in death. I think it was his 4th stroke.
That's right.
And Lynn is trying to put together, let me rephrase that, Lynn is putting together a story that I guess you wrote along with his wife. How does that go?
Well, actually, this is a story, a memoir that Roland wrote after his 3rd stroke, and he had entitled it Adventures in Rehab, which has now been retitled Roland's Story Inspired by a Stroke, the Memoir of Hope, Healing, and Transformation. And this manuscript has never been read, but it's very empowering, inspiring, humorous, and it's transformational. So after his sudden passing, after the 4th stroke, August 23rd, I decided this needs to come out to the world because it can help many people. So I wrote a preface, and I interviewed his wife, Barbara, for an epilogue. But most of the book is really all his, right from his heart, of what his adventures were like in the hospital, in the rehab center, afterwards, and his insights, thanks to a wonderful physical therapist, about how we can all heal by focusing on what we can do and by focusing on the positive, using the law of attraction to direct our focus on positivity and then heal from the inside out.
And you're doing to get the book out, you're doing a fundraiser. We're going to give the Indiegogo site out a little bit later on as we talk. Roland was I guess he was an IT guy, wasn't he?
He was many things. Yes, he was a tech person and website designer, consultant, marketing, and he was my wingman on all of my online video programs, The Difference Makers. And then he branched out and created 2 of his own shows, the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties and a Positivity Show. And then he co-hosted an online video show that's still going on and growing called Stroke TV.
Wow. My brief encounter with Roland was that he was always happy. He was upbeat and positive. And somewhere in the book or in your materials that you sent me, you told me that most people who saw Roland didn't realize he was paralyzed on the right side and in a wheelchair, and I did not. I didn't know it.
Exactly, because, on a computer screen, when you're watching a video program, you just see people from the chest up. And so you couldn't see his wheelchair behind him, and he was always animated and smiling and talking, so you didn't notice that he wasn't moving his right side. He was moving his left side. In fact, his profile picture, his headshot, shows him tilted a little bit to the left. I think that's because he was trying to show some movement. But he never really talked about his stroke to people because he felt it was sort of irrelevant.
That's really positive. We've interviewed a number of stroke people. One was Ted W. Baxter. I mentioned him to you the other day. And Ted had his stroke, or series of strokes, when he was in his early 40s. He has recovered, except he has aphasia, which is, it takes time to process what somebody is saying or while you're reading something. It takes a little bit longer to process and to be able to answer that question or that statement, right? Or to understand what somebody is saying.
Right. I'm very familiar with strokes because, I just briefly mentioned this, but my son, Andrew, who's 28 now, had a stroke when he was 25. So he is able to walk and talk, but he still deals with a bit of aphasia, short-term memory loss, and the loss of periphery vision. So he doesn't think about it much, but being the parent of a stroke survivor, I'm very aware of strokes.
Course.
And with Roland, I never paid much attention to his, the fact that he had 3 strokes beforehand, because he was so positive he didn't really think it mattered too much.
Do you think
unfortunately, we got the sudden shock when he had a 4th stroke and passed away within just days.
Wow. Do you believe that having a positive attitude when you have a catastrophic illness or disease, a stroke, a heart attack, cancer, that helps go
immensely? We're all energy beings. We don't even recognize that we are affected by positive or negative energy all the time. I mean, stress is an energy. So Roland recognized that we can choose our attitude in life, and the physical therapist who worked with him did visual imagery of him actually getting out of the wheelchair. So at one point, he was able to stand and take a few steps. And we visited him 3 different times in California, and with help, he was able to stand. But he didn't have the money to pay for ongoing physical therapy. So at the end of the story, he shares his personal transformation. He was able to walk. Unfortunately, it wasn't able to last, but his positive spirit brought so much joy not only to him and his family, but to countless people around the world through his computer online programs, that he made other people feel good, and I think it also helped him.
It always made me feel good. I didn't even realize, as I said. Let me ask you something. How old was Roland when he passed?
He was 64.
That's young today.
I know. I think he wasn't afraid of death, though. We did have some very deep conversations. He became a very close friend, one of my closest friends, and because he was always there, and he talked to me about his philosophy of living to the fullest. And so I did interview him, which I can later send the link to you, and that's when he talked more about a stroke in a private interview that we made public later. And then when he co-hosted Stroke TV with Aaron Avila, who's still continuing the program, then they focus on how to help empower stroke survivors to speak up. Because by speaking up and sharing your story, you relieve yourself of this pent-up frustration and, negative feelings, and can feel more empowered about your life.
And I think, if we just look at everybody, that would also apply to everybody. You don't have to be a stroke victim or patient, survivor. You can, and in fact, I chose the wrong words. If you have a stroke, you're either in your own mind a survivor or a victim. I mean,
right, but you don't want to use that word victim, because
no.
See, words have energy too. So the word victim is a negative word. So the people who have strokes and are conscious about energy and vibration will use the word stroke survivor.
Lynn is raising some money so that she can publish Roland's story. What is the What is the URL on the Indiegogo?
Okay, so I'll tell you two. You can go directly to Indiegogo, is spelled INDIEGOGO, like independent, INDIEGOGO.com, and type in Roland's Story, ROLAND' story. Or an easy way to remember it is to use my link shortener, which is the letters bit, B-I-T, B as in boy, I-T as in Thomas, dot, that means the dot symbol, dot, L-Y / publish with a capital P, this with a capital T, story with a capital S. So it'll read out.
And people can go to that and make a contribution. You're trying to raise $3,000 to publish the book, with an additional $2,000 to help Roland's widow, Barbara, to help cover past medical expenses. All right, Lynn and I are going to take a break along with the insane Daryl Wayne. We're going to be turning the show over to him in just a second. And we invite you to visit us at latenighthealth.com, latenighthealth.com. We'll have this interview and picture of Lynn and picture of Roland on our website very soon. All right, don't go away as Late Night Health continues.
The latest from the greatest, the best in new music by classic rockers, with your host, the insane Daryl Wayne.
This is Alice Cooper, and if Daryl Wayne is insane, what does that make me? Criminally insane. Stick around to find out.
Many of the artist interviews for the latest from the greatest have been captured on audiobook. There is a Volume 1 and Volume 2. Great information and conversations with people in the industry and people surrounded by the industry, and of course the rock stars themselves.
I'm the Reverend Al Green, and you're listening to the insane Daryl Wayne. And I said Wayne Insane.
You can find it on Amazon or Blackstone Audio. Search for the latest from the greatest from Daryl Wayne, Darrell Wayne.
Hello, this is Weird Al Yankovic, and you're listening to the insane Daryl Wayne, aren't you?
There's a lot of talk all over the internet about the remarkable benefits of Carbon-60, and baby boomers are especially excited about it. Greska's Carbon-60 is the premium Carbon-60, developed by an aerospace and NASA scientist. 95% of Greska's customers report positive results from this Nobel Prize-winning technology in just 4 days. Imagine more energy, better health, and more vitality. It's very bioavailable to quickly mend toxin-crippled cells. This is a super powerful antioxidant. Bob Greska is so confident that you'll love his Carbon-60, he wants to send you a bottle at 50% off the regular price to see how life-changing this will be for you. Call 720-600-6040. That's 720-600-6040. Visit c-60.com to learn more. Call 720-600-6040 now or visit c-60.com.